Welcome back to Market Headlines. Even as the market hits new high, which recently hit 60,000, JP Morgan stock experts see room for stocks to rise. The Jakarta Composite Index could soar as much as 17% up to 20% to 6,800 in 2021 as the outlook for equities clears after an extended period of elevated risk. JP Morgan Sekuritas Indonesia is very confident that the national economy will recover next year, especially if COVID-19 vaccine has been distributed. Therefore, the institution projects that the Jakarta Composite Index at the end of the next year will strengthen to the highest level of 6,800. The strengthening of the GCI is also in line with the strengthening of rupiah, which has the potential to strengthen to the level of 13,500 next year, and the economic growth to rebound by up to 4%. From all sources, IDX Channel. So we cannot even deny that COVID-19 pretty much sums up what 2020 is all about. COVID-19 marked on grim notes, job growth is stalling, consumer spending is wilting, and fast-spreading virus strain has raised the prospect of a new lockdown. But bad thing doesn't last forever, right? And recently, outlook for equities clears after an extended period of elevated risk. And therefore, let's see some projections of Jakarta Composite Index for the upcoming year. Here it is through your screen. We can see on how it goes. And yes, we can see the number of projections from securities from the best scenario until the worst scenario, and most of them are very, very optimistic towards Indonesia's Jakarta Composite Index in the next year, which is 2021, because the economic recovery and so on. And those experts' optimism for a better economy is, of course, affected by all the things happened in 2020 and following the creations of COVID-19 vaccines that has bounced the Jakarta Composite Index back into psychological benchmark of 6,000 after a deep market plunge earlier this year, as we know. And yet, after this most unusual year, there are several good sentiments to think next year will be better, and perhaps much better than you think. It all comes down to the unique character of both recessions and the policy response. So let's see the good sentiments in the next graphic. As through your screen, we can see the sentiments of this JCI past scenario forecast in 2021. We can see there is inventions of COVID-19 vaccines and job creation slow and so on. As you can see on your screen, I would like to highlight the inventions of the COVID-19 vaccines supported the market's bullish movement on hopes that for a better economic situations next year. And I would like to bold this one of the sentiments that say to be a catalyst, which is the improvement in global commodity prices, which will have a positive impact on Indonesia. How so? So here it is. The short one is that the increase in commodity prices was triggered by the collapse of the industry in China as the world's largest commodity consumer. And a good price benefits Indonesia for sure. And also, we can see on the screen, there's a good sentiment behind the weakening US dollar. The weakening US dollar also brings fresh air to Indonesia, and of course it has related to the commodity price. The JCI will continue to accelerate in line with the predicted weakening of the US dollar. This is because the weakening US dollar has become a positive sentiment for the commodity prices. Well, it seems like people are starting to be excited about the recovery trend, which is expected to continue in 2020. Right? But still, a number of looming risks need to be watched out. So let's see the negative sentiments in the next graphic. Here it is through your screen. We can see the sentiments of JCI worst scenario forecast in 2021. We cut the chase. We have talked about the good sentiments. Now we turn it to the bad sentiments. Even COVID-19 vaccinations could be a bad sentiment behind all the silver linings on being a good sentiment for the market bullish. So here it is, the euphoria over vaccine sentiment is still very, very vulnerable to backfire, especially considering that vaccines are still facing big challenges, starting from the distributions permits to distributions and vaccination process later on. We cannot even deny the risk is still big enough for Indonesia to bear. And while, yes, every risk in the corner, even strategics expect investors to be more selective with equities in 2021 as the COVID-19 recovery sweeps all across the portfolio positioning. So when it comes to investing, here it is, nothing will pay off more than educating yourself. Do the necessary research and analysis before making any investment decisions, whether it's technical or fundamental, it's up to you, but still using your knowledge about that. And of course, as continuations of recessions is one of the negative sentiments, yes, of course, we would like to have a good economic bounce in 2021. But here it is, most recessions begins when the rising interest rates or stressed financial market undercut demands for goods and services, driving up unemployment, which further crimps the demand. But this one began with the pandemic. The thing that we cannot even deny, like a natural disaster, like a hurricane or earthquake, which interrupts the supply of the goods and also services. But the bright side is, even though most countries experience recessions in 2022, but in 2021, most likely it will bounce back again. So let's see the World Bank forecast in the next graphic. Through your screen, we can see 2021 economic growth forecast for Southeast Asian country, as Indonesia is one of the country that might have a good perspective in 2021. Yes, indeed, in 2022, we have suffered from technical recessions because we have experienced the decline in economic growth and the consecutive quarters. But however, in 2021, even World Bank predicted that Indonesia will get through the worst pass and the best scenario as ever. And the good thing is, head of research ASEAN UBS Investment Research, Ayan Douglas Penan, said that Indonesia's market was one of the most attractive among Southeast Asian countries. And especially towards the end of 2020, we can see that the Indonesian stock market began to show signs of recovery. Here it is. And after COVID-19 has passed, people will go back to business. So maybe it will give a shock if it's not handled well and properly. But overall, sentiment is more positive than negative. But then, yes, viewers, this is a disaster, so-called as pandemic isn't over yet. Keep being alarmed and use extra knowledge to where you want to put your investment, whether you want to use a fundamental or a technical analysis. As Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Stay tuned to market headlines because we will be right back after this quick break.